Am I the only one who thinks that the ending part of it, in my mind, it always seems to me like they're saying you're watching Doctor Who? You can sing that to the end of the theme song.
I've never tried, to be honest.
I would sing it, but it would sound bad. So if anyone feels like singing it, you just sing the words, you're watching Doctor Who.
And
right?
with that note...
You are watching Doctor Who.
With that, we begin the TFT Talks Doctor Who. I am your replacement host because Tejan Lee got shot and regenerated, and I'm his replacement anyway. Moving on. Currently, today, we have a lovely cast made up of people who love Doctor Who, starting off with Terry-Eye.
Hi there.
Then we have Lucas the Third.
Howdy.
We have Phantom Rose.
Hello.
And, of course, not last, maybe, kind of, to Timey Wimey Wobbly thing, Chaos Mana. Hey. How? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with some easy kind of questions first, and then we're gonna go around the table. I'm going to ask Terry-Eye first. Who is your favorite Doctor and why?
Probably number 9 because he was my first episode was like the empty child.
Oh, great one.
Yeah, those. And I don't know, he was just fantastic. He was funny and little smarmy, little snarky, and I tend to like that. So.
And who can't go wrong with a leather jacket? Lucas.
Well,
exactly.
Well, mine would have to be the 11th, because he may not have had the best stories, and he may not have had the greatest of the companions, but he was the best Doctor out of all of them. You kind of got to see everything about the Doctor, like his dark side, the fact that he can be loving and childish, and just kind of put more emphasis on who the Doctor was rather than maybe on his companions, which I kind of liked for once, seeing like the Doctor kind of fleshed out more rather than the mysterious figure that he typically is.
Yeah, you got to see the humanity of him. Okay,
Well,
cool.
You just got to learn a bit more about him with Smith, and Smith is a great actor, so.
Definitely. And Phantom?
I'm gonna have to go with 10, as cliche as that may seem. Why? Because I loved 9, but 10 broke my heart and just tore it right out of my chest with everything he did. So, he just seemed like one of those Doctors where you got behind him all the way, at least for me, and you kind of fell in love with him throughout his long run as the Doctor, and it was just really good.
Mm-hmm. And Chaos?
Oh, mine would definitely be the 10th one, because it seemed just to have the most action. I liked his personality, the way he was portraying it. And I definitely felt the most attached. Like, I remember the same stories and the same when it was switched over. So, that's just overall why it's my favorite.
That's cool. As of right now, I'm kind of stuck between Capaldi and Smith. I'm not quite caught up to episode 12 currently for the newest Doctor, but I really like the darker direction that they're going with Capaldi, and I also like a lot of the humor that he has.
Well, you kind of can appreciate the darker direction now that you understand that this guy's 2,000 years old and maybe becoming a bit cynical towards the universe.
Exactly, and that's probably why I like him a lot too. But then there's also William Hart, like the first, like the Doctor that was in the Time Wars, duking it out and battling the Daleks and all that other fun stuff. So I think it's the tie between all three of them, but because that's not really a good answer, I'm going to say Capaldi.
All right.
Wait, William Hart fought in the Time Wars?
Yeah, well, he's considered to be the very first Doctor. Like he was.
Oh no.
When you watch the special, that's what they alluded to. Basically, with the it was like 2 hours long or something like that, and it was all the Doctors doing their thing. That special was basically about the first. Or maybe was William Hart the first or the last?
William Hart was the first.
Because I thought he was... Yeah, he was the first, yeah. So it was interesting to see a wartime version of Doctor, because he's normally very playful and lighthearted, and, so that's why I thought William Hart was kind of cool. Speaking about favorites and stuff along that nature...
Okay, wait. I got a quick question to ask you.
Go ahead.
Are you talking about William Hartnell as the first Doctor, or are you talking about John Hurt as the War Doctor?
You know what? You're right. That is my mistake. I meant John Hurt.
Okay, sorry. That's why I was getting confused, because you were saying William Hart fought in the Time War, and I was like, but he did that.
that was my bad.
Okay,
that was my bad.
I just need to know, just as long as we're being clear. But you were talking about John Hurt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
John Hurt. Yes. Moving on. Now there are a few things when it comes to like episodes. Which episode you like the most, or even which season you like the most. But I guess we're going to get into episodes. Terry-eyed. Can you recall a favorite episode, or multiple favorite episodes, maybe, when it comes to the Doctor?
Well, like I said, it's got to be 9 era. I said that the Empty Child and that series. I like Jack too. I miss Jack. Hated the way this 9 season ended, but that's definitely have to be some of my favorites.
Thank
you. It's very sad to hear what they did to Eccleston. It was very unfair of him, because he brought a tremendous performance to the Doctor.
Definitely.
And I'm really sad that because of the experience he had in the first series, that he decided he didn't want to be in the special.
That definitely does suck. And on that note, Luke, you have a favorite episode or episodes?
I have quite a few that I particularly enjoy, but the one I go back to watching a lot recently is The Rings of Akaten. Mainly, not even due to the episode itself, but just to the speech that the Doctor does when confronting False God. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of Smith's best performances as the Doctor, because you kind of get the idea of how old the Doctor is, and how there's so much that he regrets, and what kind of pain he had to go through and whatnot. It really brings it to light, and I really like that performance. And just that one scene makes me want to watch the episode.
Yeah, getting some nostalgia already.
Yeah.
Phantom, do you have any particular episodes you enjoy, or a episode that is your above all favorite?
Above all favorite? I'm going to go out of more recent episodes. It would have to be a tie between Vincent and the Doctor and Angels Take Manhattan. Vincent, because just my favorite part of that episode is the quote at the end, where he's like, life is a pile of good things and bad things, and one doesn't really outweigh the other, and it's just, I have it as one of my, inspirational quotes, basically, because you have to think of it that way. When something bad happens, you have to think, well, I've had all these good things in my life happen, and I've had all these bad things happen, but one should never outweigh the other, and it's kind of motivational. And then Angels Take Manhattan, because it is just one of those episodes where you're like, I don't want to cry my eyes out, but I'm gonna cry my eyes out and hide behind my blanket with a fez on. So
yeah, weeping angels are really scary. They're very interesting, thing to think about too. The whole they feed off space time and stuff. It's very interesting. And Chaos?
I think it would just be that one, or one of Ray's favorite ones would be Adipose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty good. I like the Cybermen. So any episode that have the Cybermen in it is sort of my favorite episode or series of episodes. Because the Cybermen were created by man, and there's just this really weird, evil, It's like the capacity of man's evil is shown purely through the Cybermen, I guess. That's how I see them anyway. So I like to see how the Doctor battles them, and the whole cast and ensemble when it comes to the companions and the supporting cast, and how that struggle and that fight continue and move forward. So that's really by far a few of my favorite episodes. Now,
as far as
I also want to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, as far as irrational fears go, mine would probably be being turned into a Cyberman. I don't think I want to go through that process, so...
No one wants to go through that process.
Lots of blades and axes and whatnot, which I never quite understood, because it sounds like they're eviscerating the person that they're attacking. So, surely you'd want them intact. But again, I didn't know how to
It's just the
process
brain, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Well, I think it's either Eccleston or Tennant where you see the whole process in a conveyor belt and that whole issue with them.
I know you just think they'd come up with a more streamlined solution than hack and slash.
Yeah, well, it's sci-fi, I guess, for you. A little melodramatic. So, how, in overall, I guess, is my next question, is since we've talked about our favorite episodes, and I've also, from what you guys have told me, I've gathered that Doctor Who's kind of impacted your life. In what way has Doctor Who impacted your life, Terry?
Well, my first boyfriend was a 10 cosplayer, if that tells you anything. Mostly positive.
Mostly positive.
Connected me in another way with my mom, because she didn't even know the series had restarted. Until one day I was watching number 9, and she's like, "What is this you're watching?" "Oh, I just found this really cool sci-fi show." And she's like, "They brought it back! Oh my god, they brought it back!"
That's cool.
My mom was, watching number 5, Davidson, in the 80s, when she was in college. And so for me to have found it again was just sort of this amazing, it's like, hey, now we have something we can watch together. So, no, it's just been a lot of fun.
That's cool. Luke?
Hasn't really... I hate to lie, I'd like to say that it's impacted me in some way, but the only thing it sort of impacted was I like really great speeches. If you couldn't really tell by the Rings of Akaten episode, and it's just allowed me to pour more minutes into watching great speeches in my day. But I'm not going to lie and say that it's made a huge, significant impact on me, as other than being a huge fan of the show.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a solid answer, Everyone's answer is going to be different to some extent.
Also as well, I'm of the belief that the Doctor is the greatest hero in fictional history. But there we are.
Yeah, I would put him up there for contender, or if it is either the greatest or a contender to be the greatest. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Phantom, coming at you fast.
Okay, I dropped for a second. So are we saying how the Doctor influenced us? Is that what we're...
Yes, the impact of Doctor Who.
Impact of Doctor Who.
On your life.
On my life. I'm going to have to say that I agree with seeing the Doctor as one of the greatest heroes of all time. If I had a kid, I would definitely be like, this is the Doctor, and, he has all of these things that you can kind of look at. I'm not saying he's the world's best role model exactly, but I mean, I would rather my kid believe in the Doctor as a hero than anything else. But I feel like you can turn on an episode of Doctor Who, and no matter what point you're at in your life, you can find something to kind of relate to. And like I had brought up with Vincent and the Doctor, he's one of those more inspirational forces for me where, like, let's say I've had a really bad day and I can just kind of think back on the Doctor. It could be any, you know, one of them. And there's always something to be like, you know what, the Doctor is facing this, and, you know, my life's problems seem also a little less significant compared to that. So that might be a weird answer. Sorry about that.
No, that's not a weird answer at all. I mean, everyone has their own answer and their own way of how something impacts them. What about you, David? Chaos.
Well, literally, my entire group of friends back in high school were all major fans. One of them had the scarf and his whole like outfit, and normally wore them all the time to school. And so it was them. Another one had an actual 3 giant cardboard cutout of them.
That's
as well.
Cool.
It's just been it started from there. They all introduced me to that, and they're all great fans. And then up until now, and Ray literally has an Adipose doll on the top of the shelf.
I guess for me, how the Doctor affected, or the Doctor Who series or show affected my life, it's just another source. It's a great source of entertainment, one, and two, there are a few things that he does as a character in that universe that are very inspirational. Like, for the longest time, I've used superheroes and other people like that as role models and idols to, you know, to see the true potential for good. And it also shows you that all throughout humanity, not just people who play characters, but, you know, firefighters and police officers and people of that nature experience those kinds of things, and they still uphold the law and provide a service that you know, protects people. So it's in a way, it shows you the greatest potential for good for a being that has a consciousness and that's aware of its surroundings, I guess. So I like to see it as a grade A entertainment and something to maybe, you know, try to influence my life for the positive. I don't want to make it sound like this huge thing because it's fictional and stuff, but at the same time, that's who I am, I guess. When it comes
There's
to
nothing wrong with something fictional being the major. If this is what you're doing, this is your entertainment. Like this, with this day and age, something like this being what influenced you and did all this thing is no different than, you know, a famous sportsman throwing a ball really far and experiencing, you know, other people to get into sports.
I got in, like, this, I'm not literally speaking about me now, but like someone saying I got into paleontology because Jurassic Park, I loved it as a child, and I loved dinosaurs through that and whatnot, or like a guy wanting to be a detective because he read a lot of Sherlock Holmes. Like, it's not too much different from that.
Yeah,
I know
true.
people that became archaeologists because of Indiana Jones. So
yeah, that's cool. So I was recently talking about the Cybermen, but they're kind of like a entity when it comes to bad guys. Do you have a favorite main evil villain, or just, I guess we can also count a group or entity like the Cybermen in this, Terry?
I have to go with the Master / Missy.
Yeah.
Just because it's both classic and just so remorseless. Like whatever, she will go any distance just to get at the one person, just to make him hurt as much as possible.
Yeah.
On his birthday as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's just such, because there's both hate and love together, and that's what makes it even worse, I think, because the Master is like so lonely, and then wants him to understand, but he can't quite get it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a tortured relationship.
It is more of a, like, when you see the latest confrontation between the two of them, it's more of the Master's just kind of like trying to call out for attention, and the Doctor's like, "What are you doing?" It's like this is all for me. Like, why are you doing this? But, for me,
what about you, Luke?
For me, it would have to be the opposite versions of the Doctor. Like, there's two characters that immediately spring to mind. One is the Dream Lord, which we see in I think Series 6 episode, and it's the one where they all fall asleep, and the the Dream Lord starts taunting them, and then the Doctor realizes that the Dream Lord is him. He's because he hates himself so much, he's punishing himself. And the other one that's sort of like that is the Valiard, which is a really old Who character. He's apparently the Doctor between his 12th and 13th incarnations. And he's like the Doctor, like an evil version of him.
Interesting.
I doubt that we'll see him though, because like there's huge kind of plot stuff you have to navigate while. Because I don't think the renewed series will bother bringing the Valiard back, but like he was quite an interesting character because he was judging, like the Doctor was on trial, and the person who was prosecuting him was himself. So in that, it was kind of like, that's a bit weird. Quite a thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't think we'll see him back, but I would love to see him at some point again. But I doubt it, but hopefully we will.
Cool.
Because it's around the time now. It should be happening.
Yeah.
Like, I've waited.
It's not going to happen now. Maybe, who knows? Later in Capaldi's arc, we might see something. What about you, Miss Phantom?
I'm gonna have to go with Weeping Angels again, because literally they scare the living daylights out of me. I will see statues of angels in people's gardens, and I will watch them like a hawk. People will send me videos of Weeping Angels as jokes, and it's terribly cruel. Please stop. There was this one post where someone had set their friend's desktop so the images would change so that it would be the Weeping Angel getting closer and closer every time they looked away, and I was like, please just don't. My grandma's garden is full of angels, and ever since Angels Take Manhattan, where it can be practically any statue, I've been terrified. I will look out the window the entire time. I'll be like, did that move? Did it move? What's it doing? Again, with my irrational Cyberman fear with the Weeping Angels.
So you're saying you don't want to go see the Statue of Liberty?
Basically.
Oh, I have seen the Statue of Liberty. I have done that, and I was in it. I'm done. I Ghostbustered that place up. But,
Did you cross the streams?
No, not again. Yeah, don't cross the streams.
Don't cross.
Yeah.
Is that Dalek? Oh my god, Daleks.
David, what about you? Do you have a particular enemy that you have a kindred spirit to, or hate, or love to hate?
Well,
what is
the angels, simply because that's that type of enemy has been used in a lot of video games and a lot of other things, but yet the impact that the Weeping Angels individually have had, her example is one of them, but they're one of the most recognizable icons of the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes even more than the Doctor himself, depending on where you come from.
Yeah, definitely. And throughout the series. And I kind of spoiled this question for myself earlier, but I'm going to say Cybermen or Daleks, because the Daleks have a close personal attachment to the Doctor, being as the Time Lords and the Daleks were at war forever, basically. And the Cybermen, like I said, they're the pinnacle of man. The Cybermen were so... Now, I'm not sure, in the reboot, it was created by a parallel Earth person who wanted to meet perfection in humanity. But of course, they removed the humanity, and now it's just a brain case in a robot suit. So, it's that whole pinnacle of evil and the capacity of evil that you have to fight that I like so much when it comes to that particular enemy. And enemies and evil, and that's all sad and depressing, and no one wants to talk about that too much. So let's move on to companions. Do we have a few favorite companions, or one particular favorite companion, Terry, that you can think of? Sarah Jane, perhaps?
Haven't actually watched too many with just her. I actually like Tegan from the Fifth Doctor. She was funny and very outspoken, which back then, didn't really talk back to the Doctor a lot. or at least not a lot of companions did. And then probably Rose, just because their story was cute and sweet, and
Yeah.
I still wish she and Nine ended up together. But trying to think of other people. Obviously, Jack. Jack was funny as hell.
Yeah, Jack Harkness.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta love some Jack Harkness. He's probably he's one of my favorites for sure. What about you, Luke?
Me, myself,
And I?
yeah, me, myself, and I. Those are my favorite companions.
Future companions.
Oh, I'm really trying to think. I can't think of one. I really liked Martha Jones, apart from the whole the whole thing of loving the Doctor and stuff. But other than that, I thought she was a great stand-up companion.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Phantom?
I'm gonna have to say I have a really hard time choosing a solid companion as my favorite because I love Amy and Rory when they're together. I love Rose for the obvious reasons, and then Donna is possibly my favorite companion because she doesn't take crap from anyone.
Yeah.
She will tell the Doctor what's up, and she will think for herself, and very rarely is the Doctor in charge of saving Donna Noble. And it's just the chemistry between them, instead of, where we had Rose with kind of the romantic thing, and then we have Martha with the unrequited love, and she eventually has Mickey, and then we have, Amy who's running away from her wedding, but she's with Rory eventually, and then we just have Donna, who is like, you know what, I'm gonna go away with this man, I'm gonna do things, I'm gonna see the world, and she became such an important part of the story, and she's just such a strong female character that I can't help but love her.
Watch it, spaceman, as Miss Saxis says in the chat. So I believe that's a Donna quote. Oi!
Oi!
Yeah, Donna, I don't know. She's probably one of my lesser liked, but still there is a spot in my heart for her. What about you, David?
I don't really have a favorite companion that stood out more than the others at the moment.
Fair enough.
Just all together. Just it really depended on the episode more than the companion, whether or not I liked it. The overall episode,
case by case analysis. I can dig that.
Exactly.
I can dig that. Like I said previously, Jack Harkness is probably one of my favorites because he's very charming, and when they first meet him, he's like this thief and he sells stuff. He was just a very roguish character, and it was cool for another male character be put into the supporting cast. When I was first introduced, of course, my father talked about some math teacher being a part of the Doctors. He's always had male and female companions, so it's cool to see that they bring that back with the reboot, and I guess that's another cool thing. And I also really like Rory and Amy. I think they're not complete without each other. I think that they're great together, but one or the other, it's not really complete. The complete set, if you will. I just find their chemistry together is better than they're apart.
Doll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
Getting in on the Rory and Amy thing real quick, I love how the Doctor is he shows up at the bachelor party, and he's like, so, your wife just kissed me, and we need to deal with this. Your future wife, and it's just he honestly wants them to be together, and he wants them to be happy. And I love that about their, just chemistry. The chemistry between Rory and Amy is a beautiful thing to watch.
Faux show. Now, this might get a little dark for you guys, or maybe even critical, but what are some of the biggest failings of the series, Terry? What do you feel some of the characters are cookie cutter when they shouldn't be? Do you feel maybe sometimes this series or even episodes or even seasons appeal to a larger mass instead of to the fans? Not the hardcore fans, just the people who are aware of the universe in itself, I guess. But maybe even the hardcore fans as well. What do you... Give me.
I was gonna say, give me a second. That's a big question to drop.
I'm prepared for this question. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All your life.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh no, we're going in order, but I'm stewing.
Okay, then.
Yeah, pass.
Do you want to be skipped until you can think of an answer, Terry? Because I can do that.
Yes.
Okay, Luke.
Damn it.
F- for Luke. God damn it.
The biggest thing with me is having Moffat as one of the writers. Like,
really,
he does a great Doctor. Like, he writes great episodes for the Doctor himself and around his history and stuff based on his life. He doesn't do so well in Companions, though. I don't think. And
so you feel the Companions are one-dimensional?
Kind of. Like, Amy and Rory were kind of unique because it's like there was quite a lot of history between them and the Doctor that got revealed later, and such. You know, them being his in-laws, yeah, and like River being their daughter and whatnot, and that was interesting, but that was kind of it with them. Like, Amy just seemed kind of a bit too, I don't know, a bit aggressive in a way. But then again, they are living in an aggressive universe, so I can't really blame her for that. The other is Clara. Like, I really like Clara, but I feel like she's got too much of an important role in the Doctor's life, in a way. And I just feel like Moffat's trying to make himself like the granddaddy of the series, like trying to just big himself up in a way, and I just don't like seeing that. I'd rather. Okay. But then that's just me.
No, yeah, I can understand that, and since you're bringing light to that particular subject or area, I can actually see that being a potential issue.
Let me put it this way: the 50th anniversary special. It's 50 years of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
The only thing you saw in the 50th anniversary special was mostly, or everything, nearly, things from Moffat's era, and that's what I didn't like. I'd rather the 50th anniversary special is to commemorate 50 years of Doctor Who, not just the new series.
Not just the Moffat era. Yeah. Okay. I can understand that. Tara, have you thought of an answer? Nope. Okay, Phantom.
Okay, good, because I wanted to kind of piggyback on your thing with Moffat. I call him Moffat. I don't know. How do we pronounce it? Moffat. He's Moffat to me, alright? So,
Moffat, sorry.
Moffat. Well, he is kind of taking... I feel like he's making... all of the women are in love with the Doctor. Everyone, from everywhere. Like, we had in... I can't remember the name of the episode with 9. It's the second episode with 9, with Rose Tyler, and they watch The End of the Earth. We have the Doctor, and how he is, of course the Doctor is dashing and wonderful, and we all want to love him, but it seems like women, we have like the forest of, what is it, Cheam? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah, that forest
chick. And the thing is, there she sacrificed to save all those lives. She died in the end. And then we have, the Doctor. We have 11 later being like, oh, I once met the Forest of Cheam. She fancied me. Making it seem like she only made that sacrifice to save the Doctor because she had feelings for him. And so it seems like everyone in the universe is in love with the Doctor. And Moffat's writing it that way. And it slowly makes his companions weaker. Just by the fact that, everyone is in love with the Doctor. All his companions can't help but fall in love with him. And he's taking away a little bit of their, feminine power, almost, by making everything revolve around him. And there's even that joke where he's on the phone, and it's like, there's the negative reaction. He's like, oh, who's on the phone? And it's like, oh, a woman. And it's like, that was uncalled for, Moffat. You don't need to go there with that.
Interesting. Chaos?
I don't really have one either.
Yeah? Tara, do you have one now?
Sorry.
Oh my god, no, it's fine. There'll probably be some questions that are just like hard to answer. For me, I don't have too many failings when it comes to, or failings of the series when it comes to this current question. I mean, I do understand that the way the writer's setting up the companions, they seem a little weaker and less important. But at the same time, I think Capaldi, that doctor, he's not as, like, lovey. He's very, like, very dry and sarcastic and kind of standoffish. So I think maybe that's something that we can look forward to, maybe seeing a better supporting cast in the future. Who knows? But, I mean, as of right now, I still feel like Clara is doing a great job because there's more involvement with her, and she seems to be stronger than some of the previous supporting cast. She's not this one-dimensional piece of paper. She has dualities to her. So I think right now I would agree with a combination or the latter of the two between Phantom and Lucas's answer when it comes to failings. But I'm looking forward to the future, I guess, when it comes to that. Alrighty. What is going to be the next most difficult challenge yet? And the challenge is and the question is, does the Doctor make the companion, or does the companions make the Doctor?
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes.
Doctor
yes.
I'm excited.
Terry, do you have an answer now? Don't disappoint me.
Well, that's a hard question because somebody who starts out with a brand new regeneration sort of helps shape the character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have a specific answer.
Yeah, just go with your gut. Just seat your pants and all that. Go with the flow. If you feel like it's a ladder of the two, say that. Or if you like the Doctor's always the Doctor, it's a sort of, I feel like it's an open-ended question. You don't have to be black or white. I'm totally cool with some gray,
Well, because it's such a mix, like I said.
Yeah.
When, if it's a fresher generation, then he's sort of reacting to who's there with him when it happens, or who he just saved, versus somebody who's there with the Doctor who's been in the same face for 100 years and getting used to him, and then he has to sort of soften up or toughen up compared to them. That they sort of make each other, and however they click.
Okay.
Eventually, and then we get to enjoy the relationship.
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably in the same mindset. What about you, Luke?
I think it's definitely like the clicking. They both, like, the Doctor and the companion kind of bounce off one another, and that way you get certain responses out of the Doctor, like, which show you more about his personality and whatnot. But I mean, it's definitely it's definitely neither make either. They just kind of both bounce off one another, I think, anyway.
Okay. Cool. Phantom.
Okay, I'm ready to be the odd man out. So I'm going to say that his companions shape him for a good amount because they bring him humanity that sometimes he doesn't have. And a prime example of that is 9, fresh out of the Time War. And he's full of rage, and he's this angry kind of Time Lord. And Rose shows up, and she molds him and kind of helps him back down from that aggression and kind of helps him be a better person. And then you see how he's changed from 9 to 10 with the help of Rose Tyler. And it's just seeing that arc and seeing the influence that she has on him is possibly one of the most powerful companion relationships you can really see.
Cool. Okay. And what about you, Mr. Chaos?
I think it's definitely the companions that will slowly make the Doctor's character better. Each companion molds him into what he is. Without them, he would probably be a lot angrier, a lot less developed. It helps. While they are, quote unquote companions, it doesn't mean that they are under him or beneath him. They're more like partners, so that each bounces off the other, each helps develop the character of the other to form a really great pairing further on.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I see it as two things, really, or the latter of the companion making the Doctor. I feel like because he's lived so long, he does have his own original personality that may be extremely curious or odd or weird, and and even sometimes standoffish, angry, and hateful. But then there's how the companion affects that personality, that original personality that's lived for so long. So it's sort of a latter of the two. I still think he has his own very strong personality, but that personality changes based on how the companion affects, as a lot of people are saying, the humanity of the Doctor. Because he's not human, he's a Time Lord. So,
the Time Lordian
the Time Lordian guy.
Gallifreyan.
The Gallifreyan, yeah, it's like, how do you... that's a whole nother podcast, probably, where we could go into the enunciation and all that fun stuff, but...
Gallifreyan, done.
Gallifreyan, done. Okay.
Next question.
Next question.
Bring it.
Okay,
Rapid fire, come on.
No, I'm bringing it hard. This is going to be a curveball bar. Jesus.
Curveball. Like it's like a crowbar that you throw people.
Yeah, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, but in this case it's a crowbar. Doctor Who and the use of female characters, has it done a fair job, Terry-I?
Has it done what?
When representing the female characters and the female form, do you think Doctor Who gives the female organisms a fair shake? Do you feel underpowered? One
not really, because the Doctor hasn't had that many fat companions. Hey,
look,
every girl he picks up is some cute, skinny chick off the street.
Look,
I'm just
there's
saying.
A lot of running. There's a lot of running.
There's a lot of eye candy there.
Yeah.
Specifically, and I understand it has to be a popular show, but no. Look, obviously, I'm going to say no.
Look, I'm just saying, he has to kind of have an idea if they can do cardio or not. Because there is a lot of running.
There's an awful lot of running, I agree.
Yeah.
But
like, if you see somebody, rolling around on one of those scooter things, because they don't want to walk, then obviously no. No. They will not be a companion, for they cannot run.
Yeah. But there's Donna, she's a slightly heavier lady.
What are you saying about Donna?
Tejan shouting Donna in the chat.
Yeah, Donna, there's nothing wrong with some Donna action. I think she's pretty good looking.
Donna action.
Yeah.
Donna action. Here we go. The truth comes out.
What about you, Lucas?
As
a man and all.
As a heterosexual white male, I don't think I can really comment on whether I think that Doctor Who has done fair dues towards women. It's not really fair for me to speak about. Also, I don't know, because not being a woman, I can't really I have nothing to judge it against. The most womanly thing about me is my breasts, and those are not things I am proud of.
Fair enough. What about you, Phantom?
I'm seeing in the chat a lot talk about River. River is a wonderful, wonderful female portrayal. She has the power, she has the looks, she's, an average kind of body shape. Not everyone can be Amelia Pond. And, Rose Tyler was fairly average as far as women go.
She was foxy.
Sure, she was blonde and, pretty, but, again, with the average kind of,
build
and everything. And I really feel like the further we go along the line, the more beautiful and less attainable the companions become. Amy Pond, the kissogram with the, leather miniskirt, who's running around with the Doctor. And it seems like we have representation of, what we'd like to see, but not all of the time. And people, I I'm just going to speak, I don't really know. I know that a lot of guys tune in to see a cute companion along with the Doctor. It's just like, how in action movies you have, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. It's one of those things where you want his companions to be beautiful and wonderful people, but that also has to be on the inside as well. You want a companion that is fully, the full range with the looks and the personality and the heart. And, you just have to hope that they're going to come along.
Yeah.
I got off topic, but that's all right.
That's
Continue
totally
on.
fine. And Chaos.
Well, I just wanted to point out T-Jin's comment that he said it wasn't about their appearance when he was saying the accurate representation. Like, I'm more in the same boat as Lucas, but I think T-Jin feels that you misinterpreted his question.
I didn't use the appearance. I just talked about how women were represented in whether or not you feel like that was a fair representation, female rights or not. I didn't specifically say, do you like them hot, 10 out of 10? I didn't go into that. We're bringing up physical appearance because that's something in the medium that we can discuss when it comes to more attainable people and all that fun stuff, character strength, and that whole thing. The stamina, yeah,
Is there wisdom high enough?
Exactly.
Did they roll for the right attributes? Get out the D20s, everyone.
Exactly. But
I'm gonna roll up in my magic in this bitch, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, the Elder Scroll references are strong with Luke. But
how good is your magic? What level?
TARDIS rolls to save.
10 out of 10 would do again. But for me, I've always been in the opinion of if you can make an opinion, you have the right to express your opinion, whether or not you think it's right or not. But at the same time, I'm very objective. I've had an English teacher who is a feminist, and I've done plenty of classical readings for feminists and all that other fun stuff. So I can understand and empathize with the viewpoint, and I can see the patriarchy and that kind of thing, and that those issues that are prevalent throughout society, throughout the world even. So with that, moving on, I do feel like a lot of the female companions are weak in character. Sometimes they're very one-dimensional, or not even the companions themselves, the females that are represented as
Martha
a supporting
is
cast.
The Doctor because she loves him.
Exactly. I like the writing or the character to be the first thing when it comes to whether I like that person. Like, I want it to be they have an amazing character and they're this. I want the character to stand out more than whether they're female, whatever race or religion or sexuality they are. That's just another subtle thing that's a part of their character. The character is the huge main headliner. Comparatively to whatever's next. So that's what we should be looking for.
Are you completely against any sort of romantic relationships, though?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I feel like the companion, he's the Doctor. He's going to live forever. You can't really have a romantic relationship unless you're an immortal, or you can regenerate like him. So it's hard to have it's hard to have a romantic relationship with him and make it something that'll last throughout the ages.
On seasons and series.
Or a stable. Yeah.
Well, he had River.
No,
yeah,
he doesn't.
River. Yeah, that too. Spoilers. Yeah, so, I don't know. I think that's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Well,
this thread loves your opinion.
Good. Yeah, and I didn't mean to make it sound like it was a physical appearance thing, but at the same time, I don't think I necessarily phrased that question in that way. It's just we were talking about the physical appearance because, that's what a lot of people focus on because it is a visual medium. T-Jin Lee, fuck you. I'm just kidding. I love
yeah,
you.
Well, I said in the chat, I already did my piece about character strength,
yeah.
So...
I have a question.
Yeah?
How do people stand on a female Doctor?
I would love one.
I'd love it. Yeah, I'd be interested.
Can I bring up
It'd be
my point as to
fantastic.
why?
Sure.
Okay, wait. Maybe we should.
I'm gonna let
maybe we
Terry
should.
speak first. Though.
Maybe we should find out just before going into explanations what's everyone's stance on this.
Yeah, what's your stance, Luke? Since you brought it up,
I'm against it, but not for wrong reasons. But
go for it.
I'll listen out to hear what everyone says.
Okay, what about you, Terry?
I'm for it. I mean, we just had the Master go Mistress, so it's one more unexplored avenue.
Yeah. Phantom.
Okay, I was born ready with this answer. Okay. The reason I want to see a female doctor is because in society, like when he goes back in time, everyone respects a male figure. It would be harder for the doctor to kind of go up against gender bias and sexism in kind of those older times where no one's going to take a female seriously when she's barking orders and doing all these things because it's just ingrained in that society. And I think that would be a very kind of interesting thing to have to see the doctor overcome that and be like, well, I'm a Time Lord, I can do all these things, I've done all these things before, but now no one is taking me as seriously as they were before.
There's a lot of potential struggle.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to see that dynamic happen with the doctor because no matter where the doctor goes, for some reason, everyone listens to him. And then to see him as a female.
He's the smartest person in the room at all times.
Yeah.
So
she would be the smartest woman in the room.
As a female.
That's why I said.
And then that also opens up for more male companions, which I feel like we should have more of those.
True. Okay. And Cass?
I don't really have a feeling either way.
Okay. Okay, Luke, go ahead and explain yourself, and then I'll give my piece.
Well, it's mainly, for me, to do with the relationships that he's had kind of in the past, whereas I don't know what changes due to him now being a woman, or whether if this character would be okay with it or not. But my main biggest thing is I don't think we should have a female doctor for the sake of having a female doctor. I think we should have a female doctor if it's a writer who wants to do a female doctor, rather than having to make a female doctor to appeal to a new audience. If you understand me.
No, yeah, completely.
I would rather it would be somebody a writer who is 100% backing this female doctor rather than...
Yeah, you don't want a female doctor stuck in there just because she's a female doctor. You want a female doctor because the writers and the team and everybody else is in support of this change, and it would make a great and fantastic character, I guess.
And also, as long as it's not made that big of a deal, because as soon as you make it that big of a deal, it turns into a whole kind of new spectrum where it shouldn't have to. It should just... it should just be like any other doctor, rather than treat having a new ethnic or sexual doctor.
Yeah, like I said previously, it should be the "and" part. The character is what matters most, and they're this.
Yeah, just as long.
Yeah,
just like I think we have to get to a point where people aren't fussed on who the doctor is, or who she is, or who whatever the person is. Like, I think as soon as we start making a big deal out of what gender or race he is, then it kind of turns into something other than that actor is it's really. Yeah, am I explaining myself well? I don't want to sound like I'm not doing it well.
No, I think as of right now, I'm in agreement with you so far. Like, I completely understand how you're defending yourself, and you're not coming off like some bigot or something. You're just like, you care more about the story and how the universe is affected. It shouldn't. And I'm going to be piggybacking off what you've just said, and I'm going to be the same kind of way. I'm for whatever doctor comes ahead, as long as they stick to the somewhat formula of the show. You know, there's companions, and it's all timey-wimey, and it's this awesome adventure they're going on, and it doesn't matter really who the Doctor is because they are Doctor Who. You know, I guess is how I'm putting it. You know, it's all about the character strength, as Phantom has previously mentioned.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. The Doctor wouldn't change by being female because it's still the Doctor. Like, no matter what you do, I could read the lines of Matt Smith's character. I could be the Doctor.
Yeah, but that's
it doesn't
not...
matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter who you are.
I know,
it's
but that's
the embodiment and kind of soul of the Doctor transporting from person to person.
But hasn't the Doctor still changed with each person? Like, for example, the most recent one gotten more cynical. It's not the same exact character.
But it's like deep down he has all those experiences. He has his history as the Doctor, and he can call back on that, and it just depends on where you've thrown the Doctor to change his personality.
Okay, but also as well, do you think that the like, I know it sounds silly speaking this way of a fictional character, but do you think as well the Doctor himself would be okay being female? Like, do you think...
I think he would. Because I feel like the Doctor doesn't really see gender to a degree. Because he's had other Time Lords become Time Ladies and back and forth, and it's a natural ingrained part of their society that you can end up being whatever.
I know, but there's always this sort of panic with him whenever he changes. I mean, if you remember when Tenth changed to I know it's meant to be comical, but like when he thinks he's a girl, suddenly he's panicking. If you remember that moment.
Well, if you've been a man all your life and then all of a sudden you became a female the next day, you'd have to break that in. You'd have to be like, oh my gosh, there are so many new things, there's so many different, you know, my voice sounds different, and I have all this hair, and, you know, I have a different kind of body shape. I have to act a certain kind of way because I'm female now, but I can still kind of be the Doctor, be that dominant force, and still kind of go with it.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting question. Who was the better bumbling boyfriend turned badass, Mickey or Rory?
Rory. Last Centurion, every time.
What about you, Terry?
Tough choice. I mean,
yeah.
I have to say I like Rory better, though.
I'm gonna win the argument by only using one scene. Rory on the Cyberman spaceship. When he has a question and the Doctor has a message, would you like him to repeat the question? And as all those ships blow up behind him, and he's not even looking at it, and he's just looking at the Cyberman. That was a great scene, and that wins the argument for me.
Tejan likes Mickey.
Mickey.
I see you there.
Mickey's cool. Mickey's cool. That whole part of the Resistance fighting the Cyberman arc was badass and all that stuff. But I'm gonna have to say Rory as well. I'm gonna have to say Rory because Centurions are just so badass, and he's also wasn't he like a robot or something at a time? Like
he was made out of wax. He was a wax droid.
Yeah.
Dear gosh.
Basically. So it's very cool. I like the character, and I also like how...
No, wait. It wasn't wax.
It wasn't.
He was plastic, wasn't he? Have I got that completely?
Plastine.
Okay. Carry on, sorry. I was just making sure.
And what about you, Miss Phantom?
There we go. Both of them have their own kind of transformations. With Mickey, it's like, okay, she's in love with the Doctor. There's nothing I can really do. And he seems bumbling in the beginning. And then he's like, you know what, I can actually be a part of this. I don't have to exist purely as Rose Tyler's ex-boyfriend kind of thing. And he matures in his own way and becomes this awesome force. And he ends up with Martha, and it's wonderful. And then we have Rory the Roman, who will do anything for Amy and anything for basically River. And he goes from everyone seeing him as this kind of bumbling thing. When the first time we meet Rory, he was on to Prisoner Zero the whole time. He knew that something was up with the coma patients. He was looking into it. He was taking pictures. Rory has never actually been as bumbling as we thought he was. And then the fact that he would fight and do anything for his wife and his child is just all that more amazing. Honestly, The Centurion is my idea of a Prince Charming. I'm just gonna put that out there. I would rather have Rory Williams than any fairy tale Disney concoction.
Cool, cool. What about you, Mr. Chaos?
I think I'm going to go along that line as well. Just Rory seems like a better one overall.
He would win in the fight, essentially, I think it's Rory.
Oh, Rory. Yeah. I don't know. Mickey does have all that, like, military kind of training when it comes to, like, fighting the Cybermen for 5 years or whatever. However long that was.
I just realised something. Rory is nearly as old as the Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, by the time he met him, after looking after Amy, he was nearly as old as the Doctor. That's a bit weird.
Because he had to wait for so long. Yeah, it is kind of weird, isn't it? What's the show trying to tell? No, I'm just kidding. What regeneration felt the most powerful / satisfying to you? Like, what did you find most satisfying or, powerful? Like, did it just, like, you took a step back when you watched that happen kind of deal, Terry?
Usually some of the ones where he, like, actually just gives himself up for somebody, like the 9 to 10, and if you've seen it, the 5 to 6, because he's dying, but he's doing it for a companion, and then you have all of his final thoughts, and there may be tears, there may be laughter, and it's just such a shift, but if he's doing it for somebody he loves, then it really shows the human side of him, right at the last moment, so.
That's cool. Yeah, I powerful emotionally as well. It doesn't have to be visually. Now that I think about it, yeah, because you brought that up, Mr. Luke.
For me, definitely 11 to 12. Like, just the whole. I honestly thought. I know it's a stupid thought, but I honestly thought that it was going to end. Like he was going to die there, and then. Just out of nowhere, whole new regeneration cycle. He regenerates. He blows up all of the Daleks with his energy, just eviscerates all of them. And it was. If I had my mate here with me, he can confirm. I was watching the Christmas special with him, and I was kind of muted because I was about 5 seconds ahead of him. We were on Skype, and he saw my face light up, and he could tell that I was so excited. I know I should have saw it coming, but it was still great for me.
That's cool. Miss Phantom?
Okay, on the subject of regeneration, discussing 11 to 12, I just have to give him all the credit for, being like, I will always remember when the Doctor was me. That really resonated with me, but my favorite regeneration is 10 to 11, because he gave up so much knowing that he could just leave him there. He could have been like, no, it's fine. I'm going to leave you. But he didn't. And he saved someone. And the fact that he had even turned around and been like, I wish someone could have, I could be called your father. Like when he was talking to 10. What's his name? Wilfred? Is that it?
Yeah.
He turned around and he was like, I would be honored to be seen as your father, and just the relationship between the two of them was a beautiful thing, and the fact that the Doctor basically gave it all to save him, and he was also there for Donna, and it was just all of these things, and it was very emotional because he really didn't want to go, and then he's crashing through the sky, and 11 has no idea what he's doing, and it's just that transition also was one of the hardest for me because I didn't think I could love 11 as much as I loved 10, and then I ended up falling even more in love with him. So.
Cool. Chaos, what about you, my man?
I think it would be a tie in between the action, because you said happy but also powerful. The 10th one was the most powerful, emotionally, as it was transferring over just the emotion. That was such a sad scene. Like the first one that this is, the quote that he said proves, just only adds to it how awful it was and sad it was. And then on the sort of the flip side, the short and the all three of them getting together, like all the stuff that surrounded him going to the newest Doctor was also really fun and exciting for me.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this counts as a regeneration. Doesn't he use the hand at some point? And I think it was during Tennant's
with the
change.
Dr. Donna.
Yeah, he doesn't...
Basically, he gets shot by Dalek, he starts to regenerate, he heals himself, and he puts all his excess regeneration energy into the hand, which then grows into the new Doctor, and then since Donna touched the new Doctor, they combine DNA, making the new Doctor half human, half Doctor, and then Donna, the Dr. Donna.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite regenerations, just because of how silly it was and how crazy cool it was at the same time. Like, I didn't even know this was possible.
How he got out of it, like, in a way.
Yeah, he circumvented the regeneration almost. It was very, very Doctor of him, the way he did it all, how that was all done. So that's by far one of my favorites. And of course, the previously mentioned transformations with the emotional powerfulness that it had between all the things that you guys mentioned is also up there when it comes to my favorite regenerations and most powerful generations as well. Let's see here. So we know that me and Amanda are caught up to season or episode. Like I finished the episode of Listen, and she's halfway through Listen.
I watched it all.
Try to see. Nice. I'm gonna try to see what questions we can get through that aren't too spoilerific for both of us here. While I'm looking through the questions, has anyone tried fish and custard?
No.
Fish sticks and custard?
No.
No, it killed me.
It's actually... Amanda?
Dropped.
Oh, she dropped? Damn it. I was going to have her stall while I looked for the question, because I also had fish sticks and custard, and if it's vanilla fish sticks and custard, it's actually not too bad.
Love of God, don't go the Scaro, David.
It's pretty tasty.
Are you sure, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I have a weird... I'm weird when it comes to what I like for food, but at the same time, I think I have a very vanilla taste for... Like, I'm not too out there when it comes to what I eat, except for, I guess if we count this, fish sticks and custard. I like it. It's like this. It's a very interesting sweet and savory taste, and if you get the right fish sticks and if you fry them really crispy, it's like this crunchy, crispy, sweet taste to it. So that's why I like the fish and custard. Looks like Amanda may have dropped from the call.
We lost Amanda. Everyone panic.
Phantom, no.
Amanda, no.
It's the angels.
It's the angels.
The angels got her.
She was staring too far. Like, she was paying too much attention to us to not be staring back at the angels.
Phantom?
The silence.
Phantom who?
Yeah, lost companion. As Tejan Lee says. What would be funny is if we add Tejan Lee in her place and just like, oh, she regenerated, no big deal. But we can't do that because I am the regeneration of Tejan Lee.
Oh no!
It's how it's how he always wanted it. He always wanted and lust after my hair. So
we need a reason for Tom Baker to come back. So I mean, like, perfect excuses.
He came back for the 50th.
Yeah, he came back in the 50th, which was really good.
I'm still so confused by that. I want an explanation for it, but I know we probably won't get one.
Never.
Because Moffat is very like, instead of explaining it, I'm just going to wink at the camera and then walk away.
Which I like.
Moffat is intentionally vague, so that you sort of, you think you know what direction he's going. It might be happy someday, but he's not going to give it to you.
Why is River Song back at the end of Series 7? Who knows? Wink.
Exactly.
How did Sherlock survive his fall? Who knows? Wink.
Wink.
I just hate that. It's just, like, it's an excuse to just.
It's sort of sloppy writing too. It's like,
yeah.
oh, I don't have to be specific. I'm just gonna let you think something happened.
Well, sometimes I enjoy the ability to just the massive theorizing and all the stuff that can surround that. Like if you don't say anything about it,
like,
and then
but I agree with that. But as long as there's a payoff,
mm.
like you do eventually find out, but he doesn't explain ever. It's sad to me because I want to know. I can't.
We're all
He explained Sherlock's thing.
Did he?
Yeah, the last one. It's just like the quote that Anderson says that you wouldn't. Why would you tell me the real thing? Because no one else would believe me. So that the last one is the easiest to assume that is the correct way that he survived.
Yeah.
And again, but that is an assumption, and it also could be Sherlock telling him to mess with him, because as we all know, Sherlock can be a bit of a dick and doesn't really care what he does to people. Like he would love to see Anderson suffer in confusion, and Anderson is essentially all the fans at that point, and Sherlock is Moffat.
Alrighty, now that Amanda has returned, or Phantom has returned, we can go into, did she try custard with fish sticks?
Fish fingers and custard?
Wait.
No, but I found a recipe where you make little churro fish fingers and you can dip it in your custard, and that is delicious. No regrets.
Fair enough, but I actually have tried the fish and custard. You missed that part since you had to go off.
Gross, man.
It's actually pretty good.
I know what it's gonna taste like though, and I don't eat
don't.
fish sticks.
You have no idea. If
In
you
my
if you
mind,
don't
I
eat,
know.
no, that's not knowing. Knowing is knowing.
I will go and I will eat it after this. I will go to the
Okay.
store. I will
Good.
get fish fingers and custard, and I will eat it.
Knowing
and
is half the battle.
I'll say I told you so. Knowing is
Good.
half the battle.
Are-
Knowledge is power.
Now, speaking about power, are you satisfied with the resolution that Doctor did not end up killing all the Time Lords and Daleks? Did you feel it was cheap to take the very powerful character-defining moment away from the Doctor?
Okay, I'm gonna say something which
Go for
most
it.
people probably won't agree with. I was getting really sick of the Moby Doctor. I liked this kind of. I liked it sometimes, but other times it was just he'd get depressed suddenly and of course he would. About that, I kind of like the idea that he fixed it without him knowing, and then he does know, and now we can kind of move on from the Time War, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still looking.
Yes,
he's still looking for his people, but he can move on from it.
Yeah. What about you, Terry?
I'm glad that they set it back too, because for people who haven't watched any of the older generations, I mean, the Gallifreyans were part of the storyline. They were antagonists.
Yeah.
They were companions. I mean, he was the whole reason he was running away from them. I mean, he was the president at one point. They were a part of the story, and it was defining for 9 and 10 to have this horror, but we're also missing an entire part of his entire character and creation. So I'm glad that they brought that back, because I think that will bring so much later. I mean, if he does find them, or even just to search for them, it will bring so much more.
Yeah. I can most certainly understand that whole mindset. What about you, Phantom?
I'm gonna have to say it was all worth it just to see the look on Eleven's face. That hope. That look in his eyes, oh my gosh, everyone I know could still be there. I could still save them. I could still find them. Just, it gives you as the viewer hope to see Gallifrey and to see the Doctor be truly happy to know that, that's something he can still attain.
I really hope he doesn't find
cool.
it anytime soon.
Yeah.
Take your time finding it, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, ice. That should be possible. I think it'll be a whole series, if anything.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. A mini-series. Have you guys seen Torchwood? Or is it just me and Terry I?
I haven't seen it yet.
Ah, so good. It's a special organization led by Jack Harkness on Earth to defend Earth against the weird, the strange, and the timey-wimey wobbly doodads.
And also, if you'd like to visit some of the locations in Torchwood, come to Wales.
I was going to say, go to Cardiff. Cardiff all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just Cardiff.
Cardiff all up in here.
Well, I'm going to diverge, and we're going to talk about spin-off, or this one particular spin-off, just very briefly, since there are only a few of us in here who know what the fuck we're talking about.
The Sarah Jane
Terry,
Adventures. Sorry.
Those were pretty good, too. Terry, how did you feel about Torchwood? Do you think it was a good spin-off? Do you think that some of it was kind of meh?
I liked the first 2 seasons, and then it just sort of fell apart.
Petered
The
out,
writing sort of got sloppy, and to be honest, I didn't watch the 4th American-made season.
Oh, yeah, that one was interesting. I think it should have ended on season 3. What about you, Luke?
No offense, but the key word being the American-made.
Whoa.
I'm just saying it's British sci-fi. Like the whole point of it is that it doesn't make sense. I think what you guys seem to prefer is a bit more sense. If you catch what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Please tell me you do. Please tell me I'm not overly offensive right now.
Or he's just going crazy.
Maybe. I think you're just going crazy, and we're going to ignore you from now. No, I'm kidding.
But I just feel like if you take the British out of Doctor Who, it's not about Doctor Who.
Yeah, I like visiting America through Doctor Who, but I don't like the whole series to be like. I wouldn't want an American Doctor.
No.
No.
Maybe
Actually,
a Russian
Jim
Doctor.
Carrey was, I think, in the runnings for being the Doctor at a point in time,
dear.
and he turned it down because of the fans of the show and how loyal they were. He was like, I can't be the Doctor. I'm sorry, the Doctor is not,
American.
Me.
Yeah.
I think Jim Carrey's actually Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is he American?
I wouldn't know. He's North American. Let's just say that for geographical reasons. What would you think of, now that we're sort of stepping away from the spin-off kind of deal? Torchwood was good. And I agree with Terry. Season 1 and 2 were really well written, and there were a lot of great things about it when it comes to expanding the universe of the craziness that is like time holes and all those other issues. And sometimes they even Torchwood explain things in about the universe of Doctor Who. And what was really cool is Jack Harkness would sometimes, there were a few episodes that he would be gone because he's with the Doctor, and then in the original series of Doctor Who you would see Jack. So that was a really cool tie-in as well. But let's move on to... other than not having an American Doctor, would there be an Irish, or do you guys... Maybe let's go to like Czechoslovakia or Russia, or would that be okay? Would that be interesting and cool to see that kind of cultural twist on it?
I'm all for an Irish Doctor.
Tardius rides you.
Yeah.
I think this goes back to gender with the Doctor. I'm not overly too fussed on what he is or she is, or what ethnicity or whatnot, as long as it's the Doctor. Like, that's all that matters. But if there was anything I'd like to see, I don't know. What kind of Doctor would I like to see? Australian Doctor.
An Australian Doctor would be interesting.
Australian Doctor.
I mean, suddenly he hasn't got such a problem with violence. But he only uses his fists. And his main antagonists in the series are like crocodile people, and he's just punching them.
Sudden urge to play rugby.
Yeah.
And here go the stereotypes.
And all the stereotypes happen at once.
Or a Welsh,
Hankering for Vegemite.
Welsh Doctor.
Yeah.
Are you volunteering?
Yes.
Cool.
Occasionally, I see your penguin doctor in there.
Penguin Doctor. That'd be
Doctor. That would be adorable.
I'd like to see a cute animated, like a 2D animated series of the different versions of Doctor through different parallel universes. Because I think that'd be interesting.
Okay, what's his name? Like Idris Elba or whatever? He would be an interesting Doctor. The guy who plays Heimdall in Thor.
Yeah, no, I can see what you mean.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, now we're going to get into some of the specific questions that Tejan has on his list here. The Pawns do you feel the Pawns have a piss poor exit, or did anyone else feel like they severely dropped the ball? Basically, I think there was no way you could exit the Pawns that would have made fans happy. I don't know. It's just like I can't see them exiting any other way because they face so many kind of threats, and like I'm glad they got taken out by Weeping Angels because that was a big thing for the Pawns. But after surviving the whole Pandorica incident and like getting their kid back, well, not really getting their kid back, kind of getting their kid back, and like all this crazy stuff, there's no real way to kind of exit them without it feeling a bit naff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you prefer it if you just left them behind somewhere, is what I was going to say, rather than was forced to abandon them?
What about you, Terry? Give your piece.
No, nothing. I was just really agreeing with Lucas because they made the Pawns like almost larger than life. It's like they've been here and they've Melody and all this and related, and they just kept going up and up, and there was no really good way for them to end.
Definitely.
And also completely forgot what I was going to say. Hello? Hello?
Yeah?
It went really quiet. Did the Skype die?
Yeah,
I think this
I
is
had to adjust. Okay. No,
Lucas got lost in a time warp.
Yeah, he's
the
in
Weeping
a time
Angels
loop.
already took me earlier. So
Yeah.
they're coming.
They're coming
Don't
for
blink.
you next. Don't
I'm
blink.
back, baby.
Nice. So,
He came back.
You're
and
a dog now?
Yes.
That happens sometimes.
I speak dog.
The doctor dog.
That's
I
impressive.
speak dinosaur.
It's saying, give me biscuits, punk.
Yes.
It's 3 a.m. here. I'm trying to
And-
Reached the creativity deadline. Though.
Yeah, the dead zone is real. I guess that's really all the questions that we want to cover, basically. Cause
Can I touch on the pawn thing real quick?
yeah, go for it. I'm sorry, Phantom.
Okay, I was going to say that the pawns are this fairy tale romance, and it, traverses time and space, and then the doctor gives them the house and the car and the life, and he comes to visit them, and it's just, there was no easy way to take the pawns.
Yeah.
He couldn't just leave them. He had to be a part of their life. There had to be an influence that he had where in the beginning he had influenced Amelia as a child and she fell in love with the idea of her Raggedy Man, and then for basically her end to be because of him. She prayed and wished that he would come back for her, and when he did, he eventually led to, kind of, I don't want to say her destruction, but kind of how her life ended up. So if he never came back for her, he would have never influenced it. And she would have married Rory, and they would have been, what they are. And then the doctor showed up and changed everything.
That's really cool.
Also, am I the only one annoyed now that he can't go back to that period of American history? Like, he can't go back to New York in that time period. Like, you can't
maybe there's a circumvent. Like maybe he can go 1 year forward or 1 year back before that even happens.
No, but otherwise he'd be able to save them a year ahead. Like you can't go back there without causing complications.
Well, he would just not be in New York. He didn't have to be in New York at that time period. He could be in Chicago or.
Oh, yeah, I know that, but I meant
California.
New York in that time. Like it's New York during that time is such an interesting place. It's kind of weird now knowing that he can't go there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some way they'll subvert that whole issue, or maybe they'll never go back. I don't know. Like, there aren't a whole lot of episodes where they go to America to begin with, so who knows, I guess. Would you be curious to see... Exactly. And this has gone for about an hour, and so I think we can go ahead and safely assume that it is over, or has it always been over?
Can I have a question?
Yeah,
have we
go
started
for it.
yet?
If you want to, yeah, have we started yet? And
have we started yet in this time? I don't know.
Yes. If you have one last question, Phantom, I'll go ahead and let that happen. Go for it.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I've been dying to ask this question. What is the weirdest item of Doctor Who merchandise you either own or have seen in your time in being in the Doctor Who fandom, or just like passing through, like you see people at conventions and you're like, what the heck is that in the booth? Like, just, if you wanted to shout some things out. I'm going to say mine are TARDIS suspenders. I don't know why I bought them. I don't know where I'm going to wear them. I wore them to a bowling alley once. It was strange.
Coolest thing I've seen, somebody made their homemade robotic TARDIS. It would, beep and buzz, and they could drive it, and a Dalek. I've seen homemade Daleks.
That's
so anything
cool.
Mechanical. It's pretty awesome when they're life size, and yeah.
What about you, Luke?
I don't want to mention mine.
Is it
come
of
on.
the sex toy variety?
I'm hugging a 9 plushie, and I have canine on my feet. Nothing you can say is going to embarrass it.
11th
Unless
Doctor
it's-
dildo. We all happy now?
I knew it.
Are we all pleased with
Yes.
ourselves?
Yes, we're all very happy.
I'm just gonna,
Yes,
I'm
I'm
just
We're
glad
all
gonna,
proud of
know.
ourselves.
just gonna rock back and forth.
In the fetal position. What about you, Chaos? Anything kooky and crazy?
I would say the strangest thing was just seeing a giant cardboard person of Tenet, just as one of my friend's objects, walking in a room, and it was just standing there.
I don't necessarily have anything from personal experience. I've seen, when I was looking up like Doctor Who memorabilia and stuff like that, I have seen underwear, like panties.
Oh jeez.
So I guess that's the weirdest thing I personally encountered, but it's not really personally. It was like on a computer screen.
Someone hold me.
And so we all need to hold Luke, so we're gonna say our goodbyes, I guess. Does anyone have any projects or things they want to plug before we plug TFT Plays and all that some fun stuff?
Anything
Luke,
that
maybe?
goes on my personal channel. Not a lot, so I wouldn't really subscribe, but
Where we could find you? Where could we find you?
Lucas the Third on YouTube.
Awesome.
Or on the
Okay.
site, Lucas the Third J.
Yep.
When's the fourth coming?
When's the
Fourth, whenever I find a suitable mate, or I get a donor to have my child.
Yeah. One of the two.
It'll either be Lucas the Fourth, or it'll be Marcus. It'll be Lucas and Marcus.
Fair enough. And
thought
now
well
let's
of
break
this.
into some TFT stuff. So for the podcast and for TFT talks like this that we're having right now, you can go to the forum thread. You just type that anywhere. So, for example, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, and YouTube is TFT Productions. We have the prominent TFT blue and white as a channel indication, or you can just look up the forum thread in YouTube itself. We also have TFT Plays, which is our gaming channel. So if you're not much for podcasts, we have an awesome gaming channel that produces stuff 3 times a week, or sometimes even more. Check that out by typing in TFT Plays in Google or YouTube. And this has been the TFT Talks Doctor Who.
I don't want to go.
I've got a better one for you.
Okay, go for it.
You gotta end it after I talk, though. Ready? You prepared? Everyone's ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Rose Tyler, I